Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Goffstown Sewer Commission's monthly meeting. We normally start with a roll call, and I'll start with
Joe Cousins, Assistant Foreman.
Joe Cousins.
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary.
Dave Pierce, Commissioner.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
Dan Taylor, Commissioner.
Michael Trent, Will Tanner. Jim Craig, Select Board Representative.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. As always, we begin our meeting with public comment, and I'd ask anyone who's here in the gallery if they'd like to speak tonight. The public comment is open, and it will only be open for this short period of time. So if anything you want to say, we'll welcome your comments. Okay, no public comment, so we'll close the public comment session.
Mr. Chair, a motion to approve the minutes from June 21st.
As presented,
Yes, as presented.
Jamie, you got a chance to look them over?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good.
Second.
Okay, so the motion's been made to approve the minutes as presented for June 21st. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, I vote to approve the minutes as well. We have a new business section. Lynn, we have nothing under new business this evening?
Nope.
Okay. Under old business, we have the Louis Street project. We are grappling with for those who are unaware, the paving is being held up because the paving contractor, Continental Paving, came out and the asphalt is basically sitting on sand out there. So we had entertained the idea of grinding the road and then grinding stone into the road to try to stabilize the sand. But apparently that has not been accepted by Continental Paving as an appropriate gravel base. So I'm going to let Joe take over for that.
Correct. So we're going to have, Grenice is going to come back. Unfortunately, tomorrow we'll have an official start date when they're coming back. They're going to box out the entire road, and they're going to peel off the remaining asphalt, send everything to DPW on their crush pile. In return, Public Works is going to provide the 1.5 inch gravel, and they're going to backfill what they dug out.
Is there going to be an attempt to salvage some of the 1.5 inch gravel that's there and reuse it on site?
I believe so.
I think that's what Corey related to me.
Exactly. Again, we're meeting with Ed tomorrow from Grenice to go over that.
What time is that?
I don't know. Corey wasn't in today, so.
Is there,
Give me a call.
Okay.
do we have any cost estimates for the boxing? Because this is going to be over and above our contract.
I believe it was 5,000 a day.
Corey seemed to say it was more expensive than
Or
that.
was it 10,000?
I think it was 9,500 a day.
9,500 a day? Okay.
And the estimate time to completely box the road and re-gravel it,
They're predicting 5 days.
okay. So we're looking at an additional cost of $50,000 on this project. And DPW has agreed to split the cost of boxing the road, as I understand that as
Yeah,
well?
that's what I believe.
Okay. So we're looking at an additional minimum of $25,000 expense for this project because there is no gravel under the road for the sewer commissioners if we split it with DPW. So I've opened that number up for discussion among our commissioners.
I have no problem with it. So, is that like a change order or just a budget adjustment?
Well, I'm going to go to our contract guy over there next, Mike Trank.
There would be a formal change order for that, for the contract, construction contract.
So if we are in agreement that we agree with that, they'd like to start work, and obviously they want to start work immediately, which means we may be doing the construction change order in arrears, Mike.
Yeah, that's
Unless
okay.
you're going to generate one when you go home tonight after the
Yeah, as
Cheerios.
long as you approve the work, that's okay. We always do change orders after the fact.
Okay, so if the commission is in concurrence with the basic cost estimate, and I understand they're not hard numbers, but it's a budgetary number.
When the change order comes in, sounds like I'll approve it or agree with it.
So you agree that we can proceed with a change order in the rears,
Yes.
Daniel?
Yeah.
And I agree as well. So Daniel or David, could you make a motion to that effect, please?
Okay, motion for the pre-approval of a change order on the Lewis Street project in the amount of $25,000.
No, it's a total of 50,000 to be.
I'm sorry, 5 times, yeah, 10. Total of 50,000 for the adding 1.5-inch gravel to Lewis Street.
It's actually, the change order would involve boxing the road out and then hauling all the material to DPW and then bringing gravel back. So if that's what your
Thank you, that's the total.
motion saying?
Yes,
Okay.
technically, that's the whole
One
project.
hell of a
I'll second the
Daniel, you'll
motion.
second that. Any discussion on the motion? Do you have any discussion on it from either our select rep, Mike Trank, or Joe as well? Anybody have anything that you need to add to this conversation?
Yeah, we were kind of at an impasse on the project because, you know, Continental had made this comment that they weren't gonna pave on sand, which.
Which is understandable.
Yeah, it's understandable, you know, they don't want to have cracking in the ear and then have
Yeah.
the fingers pointed at them. So I called a meeting on the site, so I was out there with, you know, folks from sewer and public works and so forth. This was a week and a half ago, I think. And we talked about it, and, you know, the box option was pretty expensive, so as a compromise, what we talked about doing was mixing 1.5-inch stone with the reclaimed material to stabilize the bottom. And so it was left to Continental as to whether that would be acceptable to them to pay for. Obviously it wasn't. So here we are.
Selectman Craig?
I was just wondering, I don't remember hearing this, about this in the select board. I'm wondering, has DPW got approval to spend that money?
That's something Adam is probably going to work with you guys on, or take it out of his own road budget. He'll have to figure it out. He has committed verbally to it, so I assume he has a degree of confidence that he can work it out.
So is your motion contingent on him getting them?
Well, we're going to pay for it anyway, even if not.
Yeah.
But I assume that he's a good faith partner in this, and I think we'll be able to move
No,
forward.
I'm not looking for 12
We're-
inches. I don't remember hearing that about
We're the
this.
ones paying Grenice.
Yeah.
The town will reimburse the commission.
Based on my conversation with Corey, one of the reasons why Continental would not go along with it was because Eric Gustafson from DPW went out and did a driveway by driveway profile on the whole road. And there's a portion of the road on one side that appears to be low enough to accept the stone, but there's another side that is much higher, and they're afraid they won't be able to drive the stone down deep enough to actively provide a gravel base under the road. So this is the best option. It's the more expensive option, but it's the best option for the long-term life of the road, and this is DPW's recommendation to us because ultimately they own the road in the end, so.
So the lesson learned is a future project in that area of
Test
Bernardville.
pits.
We have to be careful of the
And I-
sub-base being basically sand.
And Corey was supposed to come in tonight with a recommendation on our next project, so we could begin the review, and I'll talk about that after this is all done and said and done, but I want to get because this year we're doing last year and this year's project. So we need to get on the roll for next year and not be late to the gate with a project submission for bidding. So I instructed Corey to get in touch with you and provide you with the CIP documents. So hopefully he'll get that done, and I'll be on him starting tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I'll call him and talk to him tomorrow morning about it. We need to get moving. We can't wait until November to start a bid.
Sure.
You know that, we know that, we all know that. And based on our good referral with Bernice, maybe we can have them interested in the future and see what happens. Okay. So if there's no more discussion, I'll call the vote on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, the vote passes. So Mike, you're authorized to
I'll put
execute a
change orders.
contract at this time upwards of $50,000. Should it change, we're going to have another vote on it. But that's enough to get them started at the very least and get this project moving.
Yeah, you know, the way the items work in the project bid schedule anyways, or in the contract, is that typically they're actual cost items anyways. So any quantities that are put in there are just for bidding purposes. So for the change order item, you know, it could be written up such that the estimated cost is $50,000, and then we could have a stipulation that, you know, be verified with, you know, whatever documentation is needed, and whatever the final cost is.
Won't we also have a final tally on the entire contract amount for
Yeah,
for
they'll-
deducts?
Yeah, there'll be a final balance change order for the whole project.
And if it comes in under the cost of the total, you know, appropriation, we can still use that money to pay on this
Sure.
side of it.
That's true.
Because the money was
Yeah,
appropriated.
that's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mike on this subject from the commissioners? Okay, good. All right, so Louis Street is going to be progressing, hopefully, because I'd like to see those residents get that road wrapped up and moved on, because I'm sure they're sick of the construction down there by now. All right, Elm Street Pump Station improvements, that would go to Mike.
Yeah, basically right now it's kind of on hold other than shop drawing submittals. The contractor, Sherbon Consolidated, had excavated the area to install the footings and footing walls. But the contractor is on vacation for 2 weeks presently, so they're waiting for him. We did find that issue with the existing sewer and a concrete block that was on the existing sewer. We came up with a detail to work around that. It's sort of a kind of a doghouse kind of thing. It has a grade beam on it, so the support and the footing wall will actually go on either side of the sewer.
Right.
It won't impact the existing sewer line at all.
Okay.
We did send that to Sherwin. I haven't gotten any feedback. I assume they're okay with it, and I just need to hear from them as to whether they think there's additional cost to do that and what it is.
So there's no rebuilding of the lateral that comes from the neighbor's
That's a
house?
different subject at this time. He's talking about the footings, not the sewer
I
lateral.
understand, the footings had to go around that joint,
Had to go around the pipe itself.
That's
the pipe from the lateral of the house.
Correct.
So it's just, the lateral itself won't be reconstructed in any manner, just the
Yes.
foundation's going around.
It doesn't need to. My understanding was from the discussion at the last sewer commission meeting that you wanted to have that lateral replaced to the property line.
I thought that was the agreement at the
Since
last
it's
meeting as
already
well.
dug up and we discovered there was it's not sealed, right?
Yeah, that's the other problem. There's no fitting, a line
So
or
let's
tier or anything.
let's hold it up for a moment.
Yeah.
There's two different topics going on here.
Yeah.
We're talking about the foundation grade beam
Yeah.
that's being constructed, because that's our main feed line from that part of town. It runs under that doghouse footing there.
Hmm.
Even though there's a lateral part of that area, that's not the discussion. The discussion right now is the foundation. Now,
Yeah.
did you say you're executing a change order with them? Is that what you're saying you're doing?
Well, they haven't told me if they consider that
Okay.
extra cost or not.
And who did the shop drawings on that, Mike?
We did the,
Okay.
we did the design
Okay.
and sent the detail to
So we don't,
Sherwin.
we don't need a motion on any of that. This is all part of our contract, or do we need a motion to approve additional expenses if that comes up?
Yeah, you'd have to approve the extra cost if it came up.
Okay.
And I need to hear from Sherwin as to whether they feel it's additional cost or not.
All right, so even though we don't know the additional cost, I think a straw poll among the commissioners right now would be appropriate to decide if we are willing to absorb extra costs to be determined. That way the work can keep going and we can figure out how we're gonna pay for it after. Is that appropriate at this
Sure.
point? So, David, how do you feel about additional costs for this bridge over the pipe if necessary?
We need to proceed, Mr.
Thank you.
Chair.
Agreed.
We
Okay,
can't
and
say
I-
stop the project.
I concur also. Well, it has to be formalized, it can't
Yeah.
just be
I understand.
let her rip. So the commissioners will support a change order to have the additional work, cost if necessary, and you'll just have to advise us of that. It doesn't, we've already approved verbally that we'll pay for it, we just need to know the number, so you don't want to stop the work until we decide on this. Keep the work moving.
Yeah.
Okay. The second subject is the lateral. Could you please describe to us what's going on with the sewer lateral?
The lateral is, well, it's old, it's vitrified clay pipe. It's the original pipe going back to like 1956.
Mhm.
And when they constructed it, they just basically cut a hole in the mainline sewer pipe and stuck the lateral there in it. So there's actually a gap.
We saw that in the
between
photos you sent us.
Yeah, in the photos, between the lateral and the mainline pipe, which obviously allows for groundwater infiltration. I'm surprised you have
And dirt.
sinkholes out there, to be honest. But it wasn't constructed properly back then. And that was pretty common practice back in those days.
So are we gonna ask Sherbon for a price to change, to reconnect that, cut the pipe, put a proper sewer connection in?
Install Y connection on the main line and then replace the lateral back to the.
To the property line?
Yep.
I think it would be in our best interest to include a Y, a clean out Y at the property line. Don't you? Because it's gonna be over 75 feet, I imagine. Is it 75 for a clean out in our regs, do you know,
I think so,
Joe?
yep.
Well, the property line is like
It's close.
5 feet on the
Yeah.
other side of the driveway,
Well,
It's close.
but how far is it up to the guy's house from there? That's my question.
Oh,
much further.
yeah, it's a long ways.
So I think if it's gonna be on our property and under our easement, I think it would be prudent to have a price include a Y with a clean out at the property line, so that if it gets if it's problematic on our side of the property line, we have a way to clean it.
Yeah.
Instead of going in the guy's basement to find his Y in the basement, because that's the only other clean out, I'm certain.
Yeah.
Okay, so would you make sure that that is part of the discussion, Mike, that an
Yeah.
appropriate Y is included at the line?
Yeah, and this will all be part of change order number 2.
That's fine.
Change order 1 essentially is approved. I've got to get the official document to you folks as a draft, but that's to add the relining, or the lining, I should say, of the existing force main pipe.
Well, that's another subject, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Let's just take them one at a time. Corey reported to me that the line that's coming from the sewer manhole into the wet well is lined with PVC. That
Correct.
was also
Yeah,
um,
yeah, so that,
determined.
so the mainline sewer doesn't have to be replaced.
That's right, that was a discussion at our last meeting, possibly replacing the main line.
So we're good there.
Okay. So if you can get with Sherbon on the cost estimates for the, possible cost estimate for the bridge over the pipe as well as the lateral, we'd appreciate that as well.
Sure.
Joe, we require a drain layers license for this thing. So if Sherbon does not have a drain layers license, you guys are gonna have to watch the guy do it as usual.
Mhm.
And if they wanna apply for a drain, then they have to apply for a drain layers license in the rears, because it has to be installed by a licensed drain layer.
Yep. Yeah, we watch everyone.
But that's not the point. The point is
Yeah.
that they have to do the application for a drain layers license after they complete the line.
Okay.
That's how it's always been. That we don't let them just do it and then not do the drain layers license.
Yeah.
Okay, Corey knows that. Any questions on those two items right now on the Elm Street pump station? Okay, the next topic is the lining of the force main that goes across lots over to, what's the name of your street, Dave? Mill Street. Mill Street. So, how are we doing with them? Are they waiting for something from us?
Yeah.
What are they waiting for?
They're waiting for me, basically, to put the formal change order in front of you for signature,
Okay.
which I am working on.
So I went to the two residents that live at the two residences involved here, the Bouchards and the Ball family, and I met both of them over the weekend on getting these easement license to enter onto real estate to repair the sewer pipe. And there was some, from both folks, they had some concerns about this project because it affects them directly in their own yards. So, one thing is both of them have asked that they be notified if contractors are coming onto their properties. They don't want people just arriving and showing up and parking in their driveways and walking onto their property. So Sherbon's going to have to work through the sewer department to make arrangements for any visit to either of the properties to be pre-noticed and to be notified the residents. And I'm sure we can manage that by way of phone calls or knock on the door to let them know when contractors are going to be accessing the property. I think that if the contractor, Mike, wants to talk to the residents about any subject, they should go through the sewer employees.
I
They should
agree.
not talk to the residents directly, because we are
I
the
agree.
general contractor, and they are our third subcontractor, basically, because Sherbon's our subcontractor, and then they're probably gonna be a subcontractor for Sherbon, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So maybe even the Sherbon representative should be a part of this triage over there, so that,
Absolutely.
that way everybody in the loop knows what's going on, and no one says, well, nobody told me that that was going on.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah, and I'll have that discussion with Shervon.
One of the residents spends a lot of time at their property up in Pittsburgh, I think they told us. They have a farm up in Pittsburgh. The folks who live on the on the Elm Street side, the first bend. So they're not there as much, but they do have some requests that while the folks are there working, that if it's in the vicinity of where they're gonna be digging, there's some brush they'd like the guy to knock down with his excavator, which I don't see as a big deal, Joe. I'll let you talk to them when the time comes.
Yeah.
As long as it's not gonna incur extra charges. If so, we'll have to take care of it ourselves outside of the subcontractor, okay?
Okay.
The second one is, on the other property, on the Balls property, there's a couple of issues that I would like to bring up to the commissioners after discussing with them. First thing is, while the contractor's on site, they have grandchildren that are in their swimming pool all summer long. They're concerned about contractors and their use of language, and I'm one of those guys that often forgets and doesn't always think about what I'm saying, sometimes out on the job site. So it's going to be very important that we remind the contractors that use of bad language is not going to be permitted, because there are people who live there and they have family members on site. So we would want them noticed that they have to watch their language. Okay. And they were kind of asking how long they think this project is going to take. Does anybody have any ideas how long we think we might be in the field digging? That's a question maybe for Sherbon to answer for you.
Yeah, I think the force main lining shouldn't take more than a week or so.
Well, there's questions that we'd like answered if
Yeah.
it's from Sherbon's end. I mean, how long, is it going to be a week? Is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be a month? I don't know.
You know, it won't be a month.
And any damage to any of the property is fully restored. Is that correct, Mike, in our contracts?
Yes.
Because there is a retaining wall on the Balls property that is in close proximity to the bend. And if they have to dig under the wall, they have to disassemble the wall, do their work, and then reassemble the wall
Correct.
to its original condition in its
Correct.
original location.
Yeah, that's in the
Okay.
contract.
Okay, good. Any other commissioners have any questions or things we need to worry about? Mike, do you have anything from your end for this Sherbon thing and this pipelining thing?
Don't think I have anything further.
Okay. So is there anything else on Elm Street at this time for you to report, Mike? You done with Elm Street for tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I have
Unless
one-
you have questions.
One question.
go ahead.
You mentioned the retaining wall. Would that be a goodwill gesture from us since it's in our easement?
It's not a goodwill gesture, because even if it's in our easement, if it has to be removed to do the work, it has to be restored. It's in the contract.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in the standard contract, the agreement for construction, and in the specifications. You know, any existing features
Mhm.
that are disturbed for construction have to be replaced to existing conditions or better.
I'm just thinking like if someone built a shed on top of our
Well,
easement.
then we'd have to move the shed, I guess. It is an easement. I don't know what our easement language is.
Right, that's what
I
I was
haven't read
just
the easement,
curious.
so I don't know if we prohibit any construction within the easement, but
You do.
we do?
Okay.
All right, well. Okay, we also, in prior meetings before, I don't know, Dan, you were not a commissioner, David might have been, Ike suggested the consideration of going up Elm Street with a dedicated sewer line up the sidewalk and hitting our own manhole. And we didn't really give it any credibility at the time, because they said it was too expensive when we had a $35,000 estimate for the lining job way back when. Now we're up to how much? 100,000?
Yeah, totally.
So
Yeah.
I'm not so certain that I was far off with a suggestion that we put a dedicated force main within the town's right of way out of our building up the sidewalk to the manhole. It may become a moot point, but it was not entertained by the other commissioners at that time because they thought it was too expensive.
Well, I think for perspective, if you were to get current pricing for that new force main and a new alignment right now, given the current market conditions in the construction industry, you'd probably find it's probably closer to $400,000 or $500,000 at this point.
Well, if it's that much money, I'm gonna quit my job and do it myself. Let's bring my machines down there and dig a trench and put the force main in. I'll take the
But it
300,000
would
for
be
the job.
considerably more
You
than.
haven't gotten rid of your excavating
I
yet?
can quit my position right here at this table, and for 300,000, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for
Thank you.
Elm Street? Okay. Does anybody have any other business? I have a request from Mike, other businesses warranted. Do we have any updates on our East Union pump station improvements? Where are we with the new roof and the CMU repairs and
Yeah,
all that business?
I sent an email to our structural guys a couple of weeks ago to get a status update, and so they've basically been tied up with a lot of work.
Well, they're gonna
trying
have to
get
find
it.
some time for this.
Yeah, I know.
Because I don't really want to wait any longer.
Yeah, I agree.
We've been waiting a long time. It's just like the electrical guy on our Elm Street pump station there. It took a kick in the ass for him to get moving.
Yeah, I agree.
Good. And how about Riverview, the building at Riverview? We got any movement on that?
That's part of that project.
Okay, good.
And you said-
I've shared with Daniel
Good.
different information that we've gotten on various types of structures that are available,
Okay.
different materials, different types. That's-
This may become a CIP project if it's going to go crazy. Cost-wise, I mean.
Yeah.
If it's going to be a $150,000 or $200,000 project, we may be into CIP and not just funding it out of our general fund, our reserve funds, I guess it is. Okay, Dave?
Is our concept there still a prefab concrete
That's what we thought about.
structure? Yes.
Otherwise, we have to hire a mason and build a CMU building around it and put a flat roof on it, which is not out of the question.
Well, you could do the CMU with a pitched roof.
Sure.
That's an option too.
And do you think, is anybody thinking that'd be less expensive than a precast building with construction and crane time and general contractor and on and on and on we go? We should really be looking at alternate plans.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
downtime.
that's
I mean,
part
it
of-
really needs to
part
be
of it,
done.
yeah.
It's still leaking, right?
Yeah.
Is the
I
roof
think,
leaking
I
at
think
Riverview?
Corey said he just keeps slapping on the Flex Seal. or something.
Okay, well, as
Yeah.
long as we got a case of Flexi on hand, we're all good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for other business as warranted from Dave or Daniel? Okay, I asked Corey about the signage at the East Union Pump Station. He's waiting for some sign from AFTC down in Hudson. I told him call tomorrow and find out what's going on, because when I worked for the town of Ware, we did a lot of business with them. I will call them myself. These signs are way overdue to be installed down there. The place is a madhouse down there on weekends still, and we need to close that doggone gate. Get that gate closed.
How was it over the 4th?
I didn't go down there.
After
It was
the 4th?
It's pretty clean. People have been actually using our trash can a lot. About usually every Monday or Tuesday, I'll take a walk down there just to see how bad it is, and it's been actually really good.
Good. Well, we made a statement to the Board of Selectmen that we're gonna do something, and we're gonna do something. We just need to get our signs together so we can lock that gate.
Yep.
So Corey was gonna call back over there and find out what's going on with the signage. Basically, we need no parking, and the parking allowed signs is all we really need to get started. down
Right.
there. The rest of it is all, or the fire department sign for the access gate too. You know,
Yep.
as far as the striping goes in front of the buildings, if it takes a little longer to get a striping contractor, we'll wait.
Okay.
But I wanna get those doggone signs up, get that thing done. So you can remind them too.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe. Has you got any movement on the internet connection at the at the building yet? Have they had a contractor come in yet?
Yep, the contractor came in. He's basically just taking numbers off poles. He needs to lease those poles from Consolidated.
Yep.
So we can touch those. And he just figured out a way to get where he's getting the fiber into the building.
Okay,
So
so
that's
it's moving?
It's moving along.
Good, excellent. Okay. Any other business?
Make sure he stays away from the roof line, which is gonna be reconstructed.
Yeah, and the CMU section that has to be reconstructed
Yeah.
as well.
He's going under the ground. So
We're gonna have to trench it?
nope, there's underground conduit already there.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, because I think in the end, we're gonna end up replacing the entire roof on that structure. I don't think we can piecemeal that roof. If you're gonna fix half the roof, you wanna fix the whole damn thing, get it over with, because it's only buying it, one shoe at a time.
right.
So, okay. Anything else for all other business as warranted? All right, at this point, I would like to go into non-public session under RSA 91-A:3, in brackets C, sewer contract, East Union Pump Station. Not East Union Pump Station, it's for the,
Elm Street.
Elm Street Pump Station.
I thought
So
it
we
was
should correct
Union
that.
Pump Station.
That's incorrectly.
Elm Street, okay.
So, and I'm gonna add, everyone in the room can stay for the non-public. So GTV, I'm gonna need you to shut the TV off.
Well, wait, he has to do a motion to
Oh, yeah,
enter
right.
non-public.
So David, ask you to do the
Yeah,
motion, please.
motion to enter non-public under, using RSA 91A:3, parentheses C,
Sewer contract.
dealing with the sewer contract.
All right,
Second motion?
okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. Selectman Craig, could we allow you to open the selectman's office